And hello, HasFit Tribe.
Hello.
What's up?
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it on our, October live Q&A. So if it's your first time here, let's run through the process. You can just say hi or ask your questions in the comment box at any time. We have some questions that were asked beforehand. Usually we kind of get started with those just to get the ball rolling. And then the other thing that we always do at the beginning is a little bit of a life update. So I'm gonna throw it to you, Claudia.
Life update. Let's just start with the obvious.
Let's start with this life that's growing inside of you.
Yep. We have a little boy coming in 4 weeks or so.
I mean, that's if we're lucky. I don't know if this guy's gonna wait that long.
He's slated for a Thanksgiving,
which is November 22nd.
Due date. Yes, for all you non-Americans. Sorry, I forgot we have a global audience. Thanksgiving is a holiday on November 22nd here, but he can come, whenever he's ready.
Right. Yeah. So we're prepared. Anytime now.
I get my supplies. We're planning on a home birth. I have a midwife who's dropping off my supplies next Tuesday. So
it's coming soon. It'll be
we'll see.
Numero dos for us. Number one is she's 3.5. So
and speaking of that, she's upstairs.
So usually we have childcare for these, but today, unfortunately, our childcare didn't really work out. Therefore, she's upstairs watching Dinosaur Train on PBS. So we're hoping she's able to stay there 50-50.
I have the door cracked.
There may be a visitor
here or there.
So we appreciate your understanding.
Yes, and this is also her nap time too. So she had gymnastics class today, so she's drowsy, but
we're gonna do the best we can. Okay. In the chat we have Leslie. What's up, Leslie?
Hi, Leslie.
Katie, hello.
Hi,
how's
Kate.
The new house? It's working out well. A little bit of an adjustment from California to Utah. But you can see we've upgraded now. My office, or our office, is now in the basement, where before it was in the shed outside. So that's definitely.
So you get to come inside.
Yeah, so I'm inside, weather controlled, so that's a bonus.
Climate controlled.
Yeah, climate controlled. What's up, Chrissy? How you doing?
Hi, Chrissy.
Oh, and good evening from Berlin, Claudia. You look fantastic.
Thank you
so much. Edie.
That's what I would say.
Either
or. Sorry.
Hello?
I hope we're not mispronouncing.
I know, that's always hard to try to get everybody's names. Okay, so we have some questions that were asked beforehand. Again, anytime, feel free to say hello or ask your question in the chat box, and we'll get to it as we can. All right, first question.
From Kate. Hi, guys. I just wanted to know your opinion on smartwatches such as Apple and Fitbit. Do you feel they do an accurate job during workouts? Have you tried any of them out? Good question.
So I have a lot of opinions on them, as I do a lot of things in life. So brief history, I actually had a technology startup back in 2014 through 2016.
Which is why we were in California.
And we were building software exclusively for smartwatches. So I actually have a lot of knowledge on them outside of just, general fitness. They do an okay job. I mean, the one thing that you didn't necessarily say this, but when you say accurate job, the big thing that everybody wants to know is, do they do an accurate job of predicting or estimating calories burned? And they do an okay job. It gives you an estimate, not something to live by. At the end of the day, it doesn't know what your body mass or muscle mass is. Every body is different, and everybody is different. So it is giving its best guess. The only truly accurate way to estimate calories or to calculate calories burned is through indirect calorimetry, which is like when you have a face mask or oxygen mask hooked up to yourself while you're exercising. Everything else is really just guessing, including our estimates on the screen, just a best guess. So we always recommend everybody be conservative with your estimates and don't assume that you're burning that much.
And I have just something to chime into. Something that I've also mentioned before is because it's just a one big guesstimate, don't add in your calories burned back to your calorie budget if you're tracking calories, because it's just, it's
considered a bonus.
It's a guess. Don't think, oh, I burned 1,000 calories running, I can now eat 1,000 calories. Because then at the end of the day, you might ask yourself, how come the scale's not really moving? I'm not really seeing any difference in my body composition. I thought I was doing this right. Just don't even add it back in.
Next question.
Next question.
From Leslie. Hi, Coach and Claudia. You have said in your videos that you follow the science. In my research, I have seen how the new science of fitness and nutrition seems to be and how quickly opinions can change based on research. How do you keep up with ever-changing science?
We have a very small group of experts that we follow. And then you also want to look at the studies. Of course, there's a hierarchy that I follow of studies. Like systemic reviews are probably at the very, very top. It's basically just statistics of different studies, and then they boil it down from there. So systemic reviews, meta-analysis, and a very small group of fitness and nutrition experts that we follow.
And I think it's just as important to talk about who we don't follow as well as who we do follow. So a lot of times you'll see people giving advice or posing as experts that are, I'm a doctor, or well, you're a doctor, but you're an eye doctor, or you're a chiropractor,
or you're a naturopath doctor,
or whatever. They're not a clinical researcher like in there doing the research. Also, and then the second part of that is you always have to look to see what somebody's motivations are. If somebody's super into keto and they're like, oh, keto is the only way, well, then there's a great chance they have some keto product they're selling or pushing. So you have to be careful because, most of the time when somebody's like super all about something and they're super sure, then that really says that, and then most of the time there's some greater incentive that they have to pushing that agenda. So be careful.
Are they trying to sell you a book? Are they trying to sell you products?
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah, because the true real science doesn't actually change as much as one might think, but there's a lot of misinformation out there and new trends, and there'll be like one little study with like 10 people, and they'll be like, oh yeah, this proved exactly what we thought, and then they put it out there, but it's not really highly regarded in the respective communities. Okay, so
good question.
Agreed. Next one is Scott.
Scott. Hello, Coach and Claudia. Hope Utah's working out for you.
It is, thank you.
Since you've always got so much going on, what are your top time management tips? How do you stay on top of so many commitments?
It's a full-time job. I think there's a lot of avenues I could go down in that one, Scott, but I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet because I could probably write a book on it. But instead, let me just stick to some top philosophies, which are, you're always picking and choosing your priorities, and staying busy isn't the same thing as staying productive. And I think that's an important thing to always remember is, a lot of people you're staying busy. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, I'm doing that. But you're always trying to, for me, I'm always trying to find like the shortest path between 2 points, trying to be as productive as possible, not as busy as possible. And then, the other thing is being very deliberate in the opportunities that we say yes to, right? So, for every one time we say yes, we have to understand that we're saying no to, 10 other things.
Yeah.
So, being, again, very deliberate and not just taking every opportunity that's thrown our way. Any time management tips of your own, Claudia?
No, that is not my area of. It's not my strong suit.
I'm always on her. Honestly, she's improved greatly.
He's like, you need a to-do list, a running to-do list, and I'm like, okay, yeah, gotcha, yeah, got it, to-do list. So,
that's not her.
That's not me.
Yeah, I'm the OCD type A.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, whatever as it comes. Let me just, hey, no.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Let's see, Anthony, you want to ask that one?
Yes. Hi, guys. I'm resting up. I have runner's knee. Looking for exercise suggestions for strengthening leg and glutes without too much initial knee bending. I've been advised strength training will help.
Sorry, just rereading. So when you say runner's knee, generally runner's knee is going to be like an inflammation of your patella tendon and the surrounding areas. So a few things. One is honestly just number one suggestion is just to lay off the running for for a while. You can also try the glucosamine, Chatran, MSM joint combination. Some people have success with that, some not so much. And then lastly, I would avoid exercises that are going to be higher impact, again, which is why the running is something that's going to, is something you're going to want to maybe lay off of from a little while to get some recovery going. And so I also wouldn't do any jumping, plyometric work, etc. Too much initial knee bending. I mean, so as far as direct exercises are concerned, like Romanian deadlifts, glute bridges, etc., we have a lot of our glute videos are going to be a good solution for you.
And if you have mini bands, some of the mini band glute work helps. It's helped me. I found that just isolating my glutes by glute bridges and clams and things like that have really helped strengthen my glutes there. So
next question is Mr. Ratskins. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Have you ever considered making a gag reel of outtakes? I bet you have plenty of material to work with.
You'd have to ask our video editor.
Yeah, I mean, we could. I mean, honestly,
I'm sure he's got some.
I mean, once in a while, yeah, he sends us some stuff. But it's like one of those things where we have so much footage that you would have to like be collecting it as you go. Otherwise, it would take so much time to go through every video.
He probably is.
He might be. I can see that.
Knowing him,
yeah,
he would just like one day come out with like a ginormous gag reel.
I hope he is. I hope he is. But yeah, you're right. There's definitely plenty of material to work with. You want to ask the next one?
On which platform?
I'm sorry, Leslie.
Leslie, how do you feel about adding 2 20-minute HIIT exercises to the Stronger 90 routine? I'm on the 2nd month, but I want to increase cardio and lose some fat in the midsection. I know that's mostly diet.
It's all relative to you. So that you're going to actually be the best one to answer that question. So Stronger 90 is, for those who know, it's a strength and muscle building program, and there are some HIIT and cardio thrown in, but because you're getting so much strength training, they are limited. If you're doing the Stronger 90 and you feel like you need more volume, then my actual suggestion would be to increase the weights used. So I've seen some people say, and like lately in regards to the Stronger 90, that they don't feel like they're getting enough work in the Stronger 90. And I can tell you every single time, without a doubt, that's because you're not using enough weight in the routines. So if you're like, if you get done with your week and you're like, oh, like I feel like I could do 2 more workouts, well, you need to up the weight, because the goal of that routine is to get stronger and to gain muscle. And the only way to do that is if you're pushing the weights for every set. If you're doing 10 repetitions, you shouldn't be relaxed at the end of your 10 repetitions. That 10th rep should be rough. It should be hard to grind through it. So, that being said, could you add 2 20-minute hits to the Stronger 90 a week if you're in good shape and you're feeling good? Sure. But if you're saying you want to do that because, you're not getting enough volume or enough work, then actually the real suggestion is to just increase the weights that you're using in the workouts. Maybe switch over to which one was next? Was it Jose? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jose, he's asking, how do you apply the principles and recommendations given on your workouts to your personal life and professions?
The principles and recommendations. So I'm assuming you just mean, from like understanding what your purpose is and what your motivations are. I mean, that would probably be the overarching question, theme and thesis, right, of what we do. So, it kind of ties into the previous question, which is like, time management tips, which is like, for us, it's, everything comes down to, okay, there's all these opportunities and all these things that we can do, but what are the things that are going to have the most impact? What are the things that are going to align best with our purpose and where we want to go and where we want to move? And so the same way that we suggest, you remind yourself in your workouts, okay, what's your why, right? Like, okay, what's your fitness why? For us, it's like, okay, what's our professional why? Which is why one of the reasons why we put so much time into this prenatal program, that we have coming up. This thing has been, so for those of you who don't know, that we're creating this 9-month prenatal program, and it's the most work that I've ever put into a program, period. But at the same time, we're passionate about it. There's so much misinformation out there. People think that they can't exercise while they're pregnant and they don't know what to do and they're so clueless. And, there's a lot of information out in the world, but there's not as much information and good factual science-based information on this. So, for us, it's figuring out where we can be best served. I'll do the next one.
Okay.
And let's go with Annette next. Annette has a question on hydration. Does any liquid count towards hydration before a workout, i.e. pre-workout energizer, coffee, tea, or is it best to stick with just water? I know it's best to hydrate 2 to 4 hours before exercise, but my tummy doesn't sit well with 12 to 24 ounces of water when I first get up, then breakfast and exercise. Any suggestions? I am unable to change my tone. I work out to afternoon, so she wants to work out in the morning.
Okay, so just general hydration questions. Honestly, yeah, water. So you work out first thing in the morning is maybe hydrate the day before as much as you can. Honestly, we carry around, Coach Kojak has just throughout the day, just sipping it all day, just getting as much water as you can. But tea, yes, teas work well. Even coffee works well. Coffee is...
It's also a diuretic, so it's not going to work as well.
But as far as like a pre-workout, you can definitely use the caffeine from your coffee as your energy. There have been studies that have supported using coffee and caffeine as a pre-workout. But considering that you're hydrating, plenty before that. So honestly, my tip would just be to just constantly just drink water.
That's the thing, is if you don't drink any water and like you think you have to get all of your workout hydration in before a workout, well then yeah, you're in trouble because like you're trying to load up beforehand. But if it's just your standard operating procedure to be hydrated and be drinking water, and you wake up and you have a little bit of water and just a little bit, and then you exercise, you're going to be fine. And then you hydrate after your workout. And the other thing to note too,
it also depends on what kind of workout you're doing.
That's what I was just going to say. Unless you're doing like 2 to 3 hour bouts, well, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like an elite athlete who is going to be doing 2 to 3 hour workouts, you need that height. So,
but if it's a 30 to 60 minute, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can make it through and you feel okay and you feel fine hydration wise, then
so
I wouldn't put too much thought into
next
it.
one.
Yes.
I'm going to switch to the chat here from Edie in Berlin. I would like to know your opinion on intermittent fasting. I see this being a very popular thing now with fitness people. I can't see myself starving so many hours, but do you see any benefits in it? Regular question. And I'm going to let Claudia get this one because she loves it.
Okay, so there is nothing inherently better than intermittent fasting from anything else. I will only recommend intermittent fasting if it fits your schedule. Some people wake up and they're not hungry in the morning, and your first meal may not be till noon just because you're just not that hungry. Then that's perfectly fine. Then you will probably end up doing intermittent fasting just because it works better for you.
But it doesn't sound like that's the case for you. So
it's not the case for me. I wake up and I'm hungry. I need food. I can't think. I'm in a bad mood when I'm hungry.
Hangry.
So I prefer to split my meals up during the day. When you do that, it's best to have like 30 grams of protein at each and every meal. And again, what's going to count most is your overall caloric intake at the end of the day. So whether or not you take in 1,800 calories at 2 different meals because you're intermittent fasting, or whether or not you take in 1,800 calories by small
300.
Yeah, by small meals throughout the day.
Your body doesn't differentiate between the two.
It's the same thing. So what matters most is energy balance. If you're trying to maintain your weight, or energy deficit if you're trying to lose, whether or not you choose intermittent fasting or just a regular eating plan.
And so that's why it works for some people, is because it helps them to get to that calorie deficit, because they, in 2 meals are not able to overeat like they would if they were eating all day every day. So that's why it does work for some people. But again, it's all relative to the individual.
There's nothing magical. There are no benefits to your body one over the other. Again, it's whatever you can sustain.
Okay, so Kate says, I would love a gag reel. All right, well, we'll talk to Matt, my brother, the video editor, and we'll see what we can get going. I want to hit up Alexander.
Good evening from Ireland. Hello.
Hello, Alexander.
I'm happy with my weight, but I'd like to gain some more lean muscle and lose body fat. What would your muscle building program? Would your muscle building program be okay to use? Should I add some HIIT and cardio?
Yes, I mean that's exactly what it's for. There are two things needed to build lean muscle. One,
caloric surplus.
Well,
sorry.
That was going to be my number two, not my number one.
Sorry.
So my number one was going to be, a program that, a weight training program that uses hypertrophy methods, which is hypertrophy is basically a fancy way of saying the increase in muscular cell and muscular fiber size. And that's what the muscle building program does. And then in addition to that is eating at a calorie surplus. And so that means eating at 5 to 10% over what your maintenance is. So if you think about it, if you eat exact maintenance calories, it doesn't really matter which routine you're doing because your body's going to stay at the exact same size. You're feeding it just enough to stay where you're at. So if you want to increase your size, increase your muscle mass, you need to eat more. If you're not sure how much to eat, we recommend you check out our diet guide, Eating for Life, and then as well as our TDEE calculator, which will tell you and give you an exact number of how much of what you should be eating.
So he's also wanting to lose body fat at the same time. So then maybe eat at calorie maintenance.
Oh, I didn't see the lose body fat. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's hard to do. It's going
to be a slow process.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can either lose weight quicker, gain muscle quicker, or if you're trying to do both at the same time, it's a slower process. Because then you need to, like Claudia said, then actually I take that back. I didn't see the and lose body fat. You should be at maintenance, but it's going to be slower going to gain the muscle because you're just not eating enough to support a substantial amount of muscle increase.
And as a novice trainee, you will gain muscle at a faster rate, but then that begins to slow.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that as well.
And I wouldn't recommend, you don't have to add any HIIT or cardio to accomplish that. I mean, you could do just the muscle building program. Again, your weight loss, it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. It's most has to be supported by your diet and nutrition. Anyway.
So just whole foods, lean sources of protein, reaching for more vegetables, more whole grains, things like that.
So Leslie says, aha, I'll work on purchasing 17-pound dumbbells. Yep, so that would be the recommendation to increase the intensity of the Stronger 90. You're getting stronger, Leslie. It's time to pick it up. So, hey, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Isn't that the goal? Casper says, recently received my senior workout monthly schedule. It starts on Sunday, the 1st of the month. November 1st is not on a Sunday. Any ideas? I think what you're referring to is the active aging calendar. So it's just a 30-day plan. And so you can start that plan on any day of the week that you'd like. The recommendation is to take you Sunday through Saturday, but you can switch those days. However you need to switch them,
Mommy,
change up the rest days.
Okay.
Oh,
pardon me.
Mommy, the TV stopped. Okay, so she'll be back. But so you can switch those, switch your rest days up, change it up however it meets your needs in your schedule. So it's not a strict, has to be Sunday through Saturday schedule. Mandy Shields asks, are there any plans for a Roku channel? I wanted to say thanks for helping to keep me motivated. I often find myself nodding to your encouraging words. Well, thank you for your hard work, Mandy. We don't have plans for a Roku channel. The issue with the Roku channel is it doesn't really support our other existing products and would be a lot of additional development. However, what we do plan on doing is adding the ability to cast or stream from our app to your Roku device. So that is something that we are working on right now. You can cast our app to either your Apple TV or a Google Chromecast enabled device, but a Roku is next on the list. So not exactly what you're asking, but you will be able to access it on your Roku. Leah says, Jangry, yeah, hangry, yeah. Claudia, well, good. Now she's not here, I can talk about it. So if she doesn't eat, I'm just joking. Okay, let's see. Mr. Ratkins, earlier this year, I was sick a couple of days. It was difficult jumping back into the program since I was weak. Maybe a video for those transitioning from sickness to health would be good. Comments? Yeah, so we basically already had that need fulfilled. So I don't know which program that you were doing at the time, but my recommendation would be, instead of like feeling like you need to jump right back into the program where you were, just selecting either a shorter or a less intense routine. So, you know, if you were doing, let's say, like the muscle building program, then maybe instead of jumping right back into whatever the next total body strength day was, you know, picking a beginner strength workout from our library. And Claudia is back.
I'm back.
Hey, what's up? You get that TV working?
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Fingers crossed. See how long it lasts. So I just got done answering Mr. Ratkins' question.
Okay.
Let's see. Chrissy Bell, what's the calendar you're discussing? I was discussing the 30-day active aging calendar. But we have, and so on the website we have the. Essentially, we point you to one of two directions. So to follow our programs, you can either follow along with the programs in the app, or you can purchase and download a PDF calendar that you can use on your desktop or laptop device. Want to ask Leah there?
Yes. Hi guys, Leah from California. Hi Leah.
What's up, Leah? Oh, making me miss California now.
Okay, I've been exercising with you guys for a long time. What additional exercises do you suggest for a torn rotator cuff in addition to physical therapy?
So we have we have two complete routines that are like really focused on that. So again, some of it's going to be a little bit dependent on how bad your rotator cuffs are, if that makes sense. So as long as you have clearance from your doctor or physical therapist to start rehabbing, then I would check out. We have two 20-minute shoulder essentially rehab routines that take you through mobility and then strengthening exercises. So I would just do a Google search, HasFit shoulder rehab.
Or on the HasFit website, there's also the rehab.
Yeah, under rehab.
Under workouts,
Yep.
There's rehabilitation.
Yep. So we got you covered, Leah.
Yep.
Leslie wants to know, can you and Sean Vieg agree on either cactus arms or scarecrow? Probably not. That's the thing about exercises is, nothing is new, and everybody uses different names for the same moves.
Yeah.
A lot of it's regional. Like again, Europe they're gonna have different names for the same moves as in the U.S. and that's just, unfortunately, it kind of comes along with it. And so whatever you learn, I mean, I'm familiar with the term cactus arms, and if you tell me that, I'll know what the move is. But it's pretty much whatever you learn a move as first, in my experience, is the one that like sticks with you, right?
Yeah,
Claudia will be like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna do the whatever." I'm like, I'll look at her like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then she does it. I'm like, "Oh, you mean?" I say a different name.
Yeah.
So,
I know it's hard.
Kind of comes along with the territory. Chrissy Bell, can you post a link here? I'm not very high-tech savvy. After we get done, I'll reply back to that comment with a link for you. So look out for that. Refresh your page when we get all done.
Okay.
Let's see.
Emily?
Emily? Sure.
Hi, I've just been wondering how the HasFit gym is doing.
Thank you, Emily, for asking. For those of you who don't know, we have a personal training gym. So it's exclusively only personal training clients in San Antonio, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you that have done any of our older videos with Freddie will know that Freddie actually runs the gym. And so we have 12 full-time trainers working there. He's done
an excellent job.
It's cooking on all cylinders. Him and I are talking once, twice a week. It just continues to grow and to do well and have a great impact on the community there. So thank you for asking.
All is well. He's doing well.
Oh yeah, he's kicking butt and taking names. That's for sure. Leah says, "Love you guys." Love you too, Leah.
Love you back.
I have clearance. Thank you. Okay, that's good to know. Edie, can you make HasFit Sweat is Fat Crying t-shirts? Love them on the older videos. So they're actually still available, like on this old Cafe Press website. They didn't really sell as well as just like the normal HasFit ones. So we kind of stopped doing the motivation ones. But how about I'll do the same thing I'm going to do for Chrissy, and when we're all done, I'll reply to your comment with the link,
Cafe Press link,
where you can find it. So they are still available. They're just like buried, and like you'd have to know where to look.
Yeah.
How about
Richard?
Richard.
Yes. Hi, Coach and Claudia. I have been following your workout routine and diet plan for the past 2 months. I love your workout, and I can see the results already. I was just wondering, how did you come up with all of the workout moves? They are so effective. Did you have any formal training education in exercise science or nutrition?
So excuse me, we're going to sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, hit me hard and fast. Anyway, thank you for the love. First of all, how do we come up with the moves? So my background, or like I should say, how I really got started was training athletes, and we would do a lot of like barbell moves and a lot of functional moves. But so when I was 18 years old, I started my own gym where I was training primarily athletes, and it was all like functional training. So we didn't have a lot of machines. It was all like barbells, plates, Olympic lifts, agility moves, etc. And so that's always kind of been my passion. It's not just like vanity moves, but more functional training. And so when we started HasFit, it was the question that I had, the dilemma that I had was, okay, I have this like whole library in my head of great moves, but how do I take them and make it and turn it into something that you can do at home?
But you also educated yourself, did you not?
Well,
textbooks.
Oh yeah, of course. But I mean, but just as far as the moves themselves.
Yeah.
So the moves are most of the moves that we use are like standard textbook, performance-based moves. But they require using a barbell, or they require having like Olympic lifting skills, or require special equipment. And so basically I would say the secret sauce, if you will, was trying to convert those moves into something that you can do with just a pair of dumbbells at home. And so that it just took a lot of time and a lot of creativity. Say, okay, well this can work. I can do this. I'll make this swap out, this change. So that's why a lot of the moves are more athletic based, if you will, right? Opposed to just vanity machine resistant training based. And then any formal training. So yes, I mean, 20 years ago, I got my certification in personal training, but honestly, though it's fairly limited as far as the actual knowledge that you gain from that. Any trainer worth their weight has to continue education. You just constantly have to be reading, soaking up knowledge. It's an ongoing thing. You're never done.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And for me, I've just basically been his apprentice for 5 years. So, I mean, I'm just soaking up so much exercise, science and information from him, but I'm also personally working on my certified strength and conditioning certification from the Strength and Conditioning Association, National Strength and Conditioning Association, which is based out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. So me reading that textbook, I will soon get my certification. But again, time management, right? It's like between trying to study, trying to be a mom, trying to do this.
I mean, honestly, the incentive is a little bit lower because it's not like, she's going out and trying to, she has the knowledge. It's just a matter of going out and completing and getting the piece of paper, if that makes sense.
Correct. But again, us also just seeking out the most current and up-to-date studies, which is, of course, part of our job. And, following the experts.
So Leah wants to know, last question, can you do a senior yoga routine? Maybe. We have, yoga isn't necessarily the most senior friendly, which is probably why you're asking for that. For most, again, no two bodies are the same. And, there are some seniors that can boom, fly through an advanced yoga class. So I get that. But that being said, to reduce our liabilities, if you will, because we can't, if we put out a senior yoga routine, we have to know that, you know, we have to basically build it out for the lowest common fitness denominator. They would end up looking a lot like just our 30-minute full body stretching routines. So that's really what we would recommend, opposed to, you know, someone, opposed to an older untrained adult doing yoga, if that makes sense. Mr. Ratkin's Japanese proverb. Oh, this should be interesting. One of these days is none of these days. For example, people often say, I'm going to get in shape one of these days, which means they'll never start. That's a good proverb.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah. Edie Males, just for the road. Happy Halloween to you guys. And XQ&A will probably be the presence of mini coach. Oh man, I know it's coming so soon.
That's crazy.
Okay. I think that wraps up all of our questions for today. We thank everybody for joining us. We appreciate all of you out there. And as always, we couldn't do this without you. So thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Coach Kozak.
I'm Claudia.
And we will see you at your next workout.